Our guests this afternoon are some real heavyweights in the city of Hamilton, and we're going to be talking about vital signs and related issues. As you know, we've been talking about these issues over the last number of programs. And with us is Terry Cooke, President and CEO of the Hamilton Community Foundation, Chris Murray, City Manager for the City of Hamilton, and Dana Robbins, publisher of the Hamilton Spectator. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome to be here, Larry.
Great to be here.
You know, Terry, let's begin with you. I've described vital signs really as a seminal study for the city that measures the health aspect of our community. And it was, I know, motivated by your interest in seeing how we're doing as a community in a number of ways, and your role in the Community Foundation. What motivated you to participate in this in the first place?
Well, we think it's important where we're invested in long-term commitments to neighborhoods and communities that we have a chance periodically to step back and evaluate how we're doing, both the good and the bad, and to do that with some depth and I think with some level of objective scrutiny. And so what we found is that it's an excellent tool to engage a community in a dialogue, both about the things that we're doing well and frankly those things that we could improve upon.
And one of the startling factors that certainly should have caught everybody's attention is the great disparity between and among Hamilton's neighborhoods. And we had a doctor here on the program just a couple of days ago who really talked about one statistic around smoking and the great, the higher numbers of smokers in some of our needier neighborhoods. And I'm sure, Terry, you found that out throughout, not just in smoking, but with some of the other areas as well. How do you see the work of the foundation unfolding over the next few years? Will this continue to be a priority? Will we take this to another level? How do you see it?
Well, absolutely. We're 6 years into a long-term commitment with a complex challenge like concentrated poverty. We know that you're not going to solve it overnight. Our foundation has been fortunate to be able to provide $8.5 million of direct funding support to a range of different programs that are really driven by grassroots community planning initiatives. And what we endeavor to do is support and build the capacity and the assets that are already in those neighborhoods, and to work with key stakeholders, the city, the police department, frankly the local media, to try and bring attention to those things that can change the trajectory of a neighborhood over time, both economically and in terms of health and educational performance indicators. And I think what we're convinced of is that we're starting to see some signs of progress, but we also understand that this is a long and a difficult struggle, and it's our intent over the next 5 years to work closely with particularly the City of Hamilton and the new commitments that they've made in the area of community development to see if we can really increase the momentum that is starting to gather in this area.
And we're going to talk to Chris and the city's role in a moment, but Dana, I think it's fair to say that the Spectator has taken this report very, very seriously. Your role has been very, very important in highlighting. In fact, you wrote a Code Red series that analyzed in depth what's happening in some of our neighborhoods. And what was interesting to me was that the newspaper wasn't simply reporting the news and providing analysis and comment and opinion, but really driving an agenda. What's your reaction to that observation?
I think it's bang on, Larry. I wouldn't dispute that for a moment. I think that on the subject of poverty, we've made no bones about the fact that we see ourselves as an advocate for changing the level of poverty in our community. I'm not going to suggest for a moment that was a decision that was universally welcomed. There are some who have criticized us for advocating too strongly on the issue of poverty. Some who have worried about whether or not it's helped define the city in a sort of a singular way that perhaps they would like to not see. At the end of the day, though, it's a role that we're comfortable with. We sort of came to the issue of poverty and the appreciation of the role it played in our community over a number of years. And what I would tell you is, sort of as a large media organization, the thing that struck us is that everywhere we went in gathering news in the community, poverty was somehow connected, whether it was around issues of crime, whether it was issues of education, issues of health. The connective tissue in all of those pieces, so many times, was poverty. So we felt completely comfortable that this was a role, a leadership role that the Spectator needed to take.
And Larry, let me jump in, because I think I've said this publicly before, but I think the singular contribution and the leadership of the Spectator has fundamentally improved and distinguished the way we've responded in this community from anywhere else in the country. And I would say as a leader and a local news provider and a key informant, they've done something that no other newspaper of their size, probably in North America, has attempted. And I think they've done it with some conviction and I think some impact. And I think they deserve credit for that.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the whole issue of defining the community. But let's go to you, Chris, because of course as the city manager, your task is to provide advice to council and then implement council's wishes. So what are you doing on this file that's making a difference?
As you know, Larry, just before Christmas, we did have a chance to sit down with the leaders of the Poverty Roundtable and our Committee of the Whole, and to talk about the challenges that this neighborhood is facing. And there have been, along those lines, though, changes in our organization towards the whole matter of poverty, and realizing that it's not just a community services issue. We're here obviously to build a strong economy, and I don't know how you do that without healthy neighborhoods. So you're seeing not just council but the administration realize that the way to solve the problem isn't with a singular focus, but in fact is a coordinated focus, and they've supported that wholeheartedly.
And so
Larry,
what are...
Larry, I was just going to say, I think we have to resist the temptation to apologize for focusing on poverty as well. I think, one of the places that Hamilton stands in such good stead compared to other cities in the country is because of that focus. And the reality is that there's nothing peculiar to poverty in Hamilton. When we document things like the health impacts of poverty, that's true in Hamilton, it's true in Edmonton, it's true in Vancouver. There are impacts and repercussions to being poor in this country that are not exclusive to Hamilton. What's exclusive to Hamilton is the amount of attention and focus that we've paid to them.
And that's healthy. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to move the yardsticks, as it were, and improve the situation. And let me turn to you again, Chris. It's great to have information. The analysis that's been done, I think, is very healthy. The fact that we're openly talking about it, the fact that we've brought together disparate groups that might not have generation ago have been talking about poverty and they're now working together is healthy as well. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to see some progress. What specifically is the city doing to try to address that?
Well, we have added to my staff an individual who is, I think, extremely well respected in this community, working amongst the nonprofit organizations and government. Paul Johnson, as many of the viewers may know, was the former executive director of the Wesley Urban Ministries and a strong advocate of dealing with homelessness issues and other matters related to poverty. So Paul has been brought into our organization to help with making sure that the city services are coordinated. So he's there to ensure that our departments are working together with a common focus on neighborhoods that are indeed in need of some change. And so that's one of the steps that have been taken. If I can add, though, we're also working with McMaster University. Charlotte Yates, the head of social sciences, has organized her faculty in such a way as to provide us with some excellent guidance in terms of what is working around the world when tackling these kinds of issues. And not just in terms of providing us advice, but also we want her there to assist in, along with the Community Foundation, along with the Spectator, assist us in measuring whether or not the changes that we're going to be making are in fact having the effect we want.
And in fact, gentlemen, we've run out of time, and there's so many aspects to this topic to cover. But in fact, that measurement, I think, is important to each of you, certainly to the foundation in terms of knowing whether we're making progress, certainly to the Spectator in terms of highlighting the issues and wanting to know if there's some results, and above all to the city and some of the resources that are being spent to make sure that, in fact, they're having the right and good results as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll continue this, I'm sure, another day.